Good morning. Welcome to a Friday morning community yoga class. I hope that you all are able to connect and hopefully have video at the end of this practice. I hope that you'll take some time to say hello to each other and see how everyone is doing. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. This practice is intended to be a gentle practice, but a way of waking up the body for this morning. So let's take a comfortable seat. You could be in a chair. You could be on the floor. Your legs could be straight. They could be crossed. Anything that's comfortable that allows you to keep an upright posture. I'm going to start by rolling the shoulders up and back, keeping the chest lifted. We'll drop the nose down toward the floor. Gaze can be closed, eyes can be closed or soft. And just connecting with the breath, starting to allow the breath to expand, lengthening out the breathing. And trying to keep the breath of equal pressure. So even at the ends of the breath where it tends to taper, seeing if we can squeeze a little or push a little to keep the pressure the same. And also sensing the heat balance in the body, noticing the areas that might be a little bit warmer, areas that might be a little cooler. Start to move with the breath and with your intention, starting to move that heat from the warm areas into the cooler areas. And then taking a nice deep inhale, we'll hold the inhale in the body, clamping off at the throat. Feeling the pressure in the lungs, the expansion in the lungs. See if you can take a little sip more. And exhale, exhaling completely, squeezing out the end of the exhale. Hold the breath out, just a second or two, squeezing, holding the breath out. Inhale, allow the lungs to fill completely, all parts of the lungs filling. At the top of the inhale, hold. And take a little sip more. And exhale, exhale completely and squeeze. Squeezing at the bottom of the exhale, holding the breath out. And release. Coming back to a natural breath. And you can slowly open the eyes. Let's start by taking the hands back behind. And lifting the chest up toward the ceiling. You might come straight up. You might come back into a back bend. And coming on and back up to center. We're going to come forward here. So if you're in a chair, just leaning forward. And I'm going to try and keep some length in the spine. You might walk your hands forward. If you're in a cross-legged position, we'll come on back up and switch. So the other leg is in front or on top, and then come forward once again. On an inhale, we'll come on up to center. And release the legs out if they're cross-legged. And come up into a staff pose. So if you're in the chair, we're just going to sit up tall. And then we're going to turn to the left. So you're going to twist around the spine. So lifting both side bodies and twisting. So trying to keep as upright as possible. On the inhale, we'll come back through center and exhale over to the other side. And again, lengthen the spine as upright as we can be. And on an inhale, we'll come on back to center. We're going to move our way into a cat-cow. So we're going to come on to hands and knees. Hands are below the shoulders. Knees are below the hips. Feet are hip distance apart. On your inhale, tailbone up, chest up, coming into cow pose. Exhale, abdominals in, coming into cat pose. Moving back and forth with your breath. Gaze is soft. The attention is on the spine. How is the spine today? And on your next exhale, when you come into cat pose, we're going to take the hips to the heels and coming into prayer pose. So the knees could be wide or they could be narrow. I'm going to reach through the fingers, start to walk the hands forward. On an inhale, we'll come on up to center. We'll come into a little bit of a twist here. So we'll take the right hand underneath of the nose. On an inhale, take the left arm up toward the ceiling. Exhale, slide the hand along the floor and through toward the right. Full exhale. Inhale and open. Exhale and reach. Inhale and open. Exhale and through. And inhale and open. Exhale, reach, hold, and breathe. So you might come down on the head or the shoulder or both here. On an inhale, we'll come on back up to center. And switching sides, left hand down. On your next inhale, right hand up toward the ceiling. Exhale, slide the hand through to the left. Full exhale. Inhale and open. Exhale and reach. Inhale and open. Exhale and through. And inhale and open. Exhale, reach, hold, and breathe. On an inhale, we'll come on back to center. And from your hands and knees position now, I'm going to walk the hands forward and then take the hips forward and pause here in a half plank pose. Now, if this ever becomes too strenuous, too much, you can always take your hips back a little. That'll reduce the load. Now, if you want to pad your knees, you can do that as well. So holding in your half plank pose, the hips are in line with your shoulders and your knees, and your shoulders are down away from your ears. Now check in with your hands. Try to balance the load across the span of your hands, so not into the wrists very much, pushing into the fingers and the palm. Holding in a half plank pose. And then you can tuck your toes of your right foot if you want a little more. So you could just hold here. If you want a little more, lift the right knee off of the mat. Just make sure you're not tilting the pelvis in any way. Again, if you need a break or you need it less intense, you could start to take the hips back a little more. Or you could even come all the way back into prayer and rest. So you have your right knee lifted. We're going to lower that down to the floor. Tuck your toes of your left foot and push back into that heel left side now. Still breathing, still toning the arm muscles. If you have your left knee lifted, we'll bring that down. Now we'll take the hips back and rest in prayer pose again. So you might bring your hands back, let the hips drop down. On inhale, we'll come on and back up. We're going to walk those hands forward, coming back into our half plank pose. This time we're going to bring the elbows in and lower down, all the way down onto the floor. I'm going to reach through the feet, tops the feet down, and bring your elbows underneath of your shoulders. So we're coming into Sphinx pose. Elbows are shoulder width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. Let's draw the shoulders down the back. Tailbone comes down toward the floor. You can lift your head, the chest. Now, if your back feels okay, you're going to spread the fingers wide on the floor and then straighten the elbows. You're going to come up a little bit higher. It's going to mean your tailbone has to come down even stronger toward the floor. So you might have partially bent elbows here. You might be fully straight. And then we'll bring the elbows back down. I'll slip the hands back by the shoulders. I'm going to push on back to child's pose. And again, you could have knees wide or knees together. Full child's pose, your head would come to the floor and the hands back by your feet. Just working at whatever feels right for your body here. Maybe your hands don't come all the way back. Maybe you round the back here. Maybe your head's not on the floor. Just finding a place that you can soften and breathe into the back, particularly the lower back. And then using your hands, we'll come on up. From here, you're going to come onto your knees. Take your feet a little bit about hip distance apart. Tuck your toes under. I'm going to walk the hands back and come into a squat. So how do I do that? I came from the knees, tuck your toes underneath. Walk your hands back and then lift the knees out wide. So you'll be balancing here on your toes. Now, if you know that you need a little more stability, take your feet a little wider. I'm going to try to find a place where we can find balance in the feet. So use your feet muscles, particularly around your toes. If you can, take your hands off the floor, bring them together at the center of the heart. And then if you can, lift upwards. So you're going to draw your shoulders back, reach up to the top of the head, like you have a potted plant on your head. Breathing here. From here, we're going to work our way up to standing. So whatever works for you. And coming on up to Tadasana, mountain pose. From here, we'll take the arms up, palms together, cross the thumbs, crescent pose to the right, dropping down. Inhale, back up to center, crescent pose, other side. Inhale, back up to center, release the hands, Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So lifting that tailbone up, upper body softens down. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart, outside edges parallel, deep bend in the knees, and come on up for chair pose. If you're okay with taking your arms overhead, you can do that. If that doesn't work, just have the hands on the hips. Pushing your feet, come on up and release your hands. I'm going to step that right foot forward, coming into a warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. Right foot forward, left foot back, squaring the hips, arms up. From here, I'm going to take the hands back behind, see if you can interlace the fingers and straighten the elbows. So we'll draw the shoulder blades together. You might even be able to take your hands away from your hips. Well, they might stay down. And we'll release the arms, coming back into our warrior one. And then release the hands. We'll step the feet together. And we'll take the other foot forward now. Left foot forward, right foot back, squaring those hips. Arms up when you're ready. Front knee bends. And we'll release the hands down behind. If you can remember which way you interlaced your fingers before, do the opposite way. If you don't remember, do the way that feels weird. And then straighten the elbows, draw the shoulder blades together. And then release. We'll stack the feet together. We're going to work on pyramid pose. So if you have and want to use a couple of blocks, go ahead and grab those. So I'm going to take those down onto the floor. We'll take the right foot in between the blocks and step back. So right foot forward, square the hips. Right hip moves back behind, back toward what's behind, nice and long. And a hinge at the hips and come down, releasing the hands to your blocks. Now notice when you do that, you don't collapse onto the hands. Try to be light on the hands. Use the legs as the strength, pulling into the core. Front knee is also not locked. Make sure that you can bend the knee, that you have a bit of tone around the knee support, or the knee joint itself. Now, if you want more and you've been coming for a while, go ahead and drop down. You can start to, if your hands can come all the way to the floor, then you can take your nose down toward your knee and perhaps touch your nose to your right knee. Otherwise, you can just stay at any level here. If you're curled down, we're going to come back up to extend through the spine. We're going to come into a revolved triangle pose. So from here, you're going to keep your left hand down. You might scoot the block in closer to the foot. You might keep it exactly where it is. Let me get some length in the spine. And I take your right hand to your right hip. Draw the shoulder back and see if you can stack your right shoulder on top of the left. So the hips stay where they are. We don't swing the hips to get here. Stacking the shoulder, opening the chest to the right. If your shoulders are stacked, you can release the right hand up toward the ceiling. It could also just stay on the hip. Revolve triangle pose. Now notice your hand that's still down on the floor or the block. Make sure you're not heavy in that hand. And if you really want to try, maybe take your hand off of the block or the floor. So you see how much you need to pull in to your legs. And so if you're feeling wobbly, just use what you need. You can also have a chair here for some stability. You can hold on to a chair or a wall. On inhale, we'll unwind back into a pyramid pose. Now from here, let's just take a break. You're going to bend the knees, step your back foot in, come on up to standing, twist around the spine. We're holding that for a while. All right, coming back to center. We're going to work on the same side. We're going to come into a half warrior 3. So you can do this with a chair. So the option here with the chair is you'll come down with the hands on the seat of the chair. Balancing your hips over your right foot will be lifting the back leg. And we don't want to stack. We're not opening here, at least not yet. We're going to keep the hips level with the floor. Now you can also do this with a couple of blocks. If you've been working with the blocks here in pyramid, we'll come down, kicking back and working here. All right. So you can also do this if you're able to touch the floor. You could do this on the floor too. Whatever one works for you. So I'm going to start here. I'll talk you through it. We'll start here facing your setup. Take your right foot forward and plant that foot. So find the four corners of the foot. Use the foot muscles, toning around your ankle and your knee and actively pushing it in the floor. In fact, go ahead and bend your knee a bit and then straighten your knee as if you're pushing the foot down into the floor. Really feeling that connection. We're going to go ahead and come over your blocks. You can take your left foot back. So you're coming into a pyramid here over your blocks, or again, your hands on the chair. Bend your front knee just a bit. Take the weight onto your right foot. Push into your right foot, straightening the knee, and bring your left foot straight back behind. So I'm going to try to balance your weight over your right foot. And the way to keep this off of your hip is to continually push down into the floor. And then also kicking to your left foot, extend through your spine. So the abdominals are supporting here. Breath is flowing, balancing across your whole right foot. No joint is locked. Everything is able to move. Everything is supported. Then we'll bring that foot back down, come back into a pyramid, and then come on up to standing. Okay, now let's try our other side. So we're going to come into pyramid pose to start on the left leg. So taking your left foot forward, right foot back, square the hips, both legs straight. Left hip moving toward what's behind. Now we'll hinge at the hips and come down over your blocks or on the floor. And again, you could have a chair here. You don't have to be this low. Connecting with your feet, finding the four corners of the feet, toning the muscles of the legs. Breathing here. And again, if your hands can come down easily to the floor, then you can drop down and try to take your nose to your left knee. There's no need to go that low if you're not wanting to do that today. But we do want to try to keep the hips level with the floor. And we don't want to lock this front knee especially. We want to try to keep tone around the knee joint, so pulling up there. I don't know if I called it right. It's the front one. Maybe it's a left for you guys. And if you're curled down, I'm going to extend back up through the spine. We're going to come into revolved triangle pose. So now the right hand stays down. Keep your hips level. Lengthen from tailbone to the top of the head. Draw the left hand to the hip and stack the shoulders. The left shoulder on top of right. And again, if you're feeling unstable, you don't have to be as low. You could be higher on a chair. You could also have your left hand on something, a wall or a piece of furniture. If your shoulder is stacking, you can release that hand up toward the ceiling. Revolved triangle. On an inhale, we'll come on back into pyramid pose. Bend that front knee, step your back foot in. Come on up to standing. Take a little break, twist around the spine. And before we move into half moon on this side, let's do a little back bend. Take the hands to the lower spine, fingers toward the floor, tailbone forward, lift the chest, opening here. So you might go straight up toward the ceiling. You might come back a little further. And we'll draw the abdominals in to come on up. All right, other side. So again, if you're using a chair, you'll have that in front, and we're going to come down over the left foot and kick now the right foot up toward the ceiling. You can also do this with your blocks or hands on the floor. When you're ready, we'll take the left foot forward, right foot back. So same side we just did. We're going to square in front and come on down into pyramid. And now connect with your left foot. I'm going to push into the floor with your left foot. Take a slight bend to your left knee. From here, I'm going to push into that foot, leaning forward, and then lift your right leg as you straighten your left knee. So you're going to lift and straighten at the same time. Keep the hips level, reaching through the top of the head, not locking any joint. So the more you push down into the floor, the more that will help you to lift up off of your left hip. And you might need to walk your blocks forward a little so that your hands are under your shoulders. So kick back, lengthen, and balance all of your weight on your left foot. And then we'll take that right foot back down, coming back into a pyramid pose. Bend your front knee, back foot in, and come on up to standing. Good work. Okay, we're gonna come down to the floor. So working your way down any way that you like, coming down to sitting. Let's do a little bit of Baddha Konasana. So if you want to sit on a blanket, go ahead and grab one. Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet are together, knees out wide. We'll get some length in the spine, excuse me, and hinge at the hips to come on forward over your feet. Coming forward any amount, the knees just go down on their own. We don't push them down. On an inhale, we'll come on up from there. And draw the knees together. Straighten out your left leg. So left leg long on the floor. Pick up your right foot, cross it over, and try to stack your right knee on top of your left. As you do that, you're going to pull that right foot, pull your foot in close to your hip. So we're stacking one knee on top of the other. Now, if you're up here, you kind of have nothing underneath that hip, then take this foot forward more until you can get the sit bone down. So we want to be stable. We don't want to be balancing on a pinpoint here. This is half Gomukhasana, half Gomukhasana, which is cow face pose. There you go. Half cow face pose in the legs. So keeping some length in the spine. We're going to come forward here in a forward fold over your stacked knees. Now, if you can reach your foot, go ahead and grab it. If you can't, then try keeping your hands back and holding onto your other foot, your hands back by your hips. So either way here. On an inhale, we'll come on up from there. Keep the knee where it is. And take the arms out. Now the knee that's on top, that's the arm that'll come underneath. We're going to try to lift high. Stack your elbows if you can. So I'm going to try and get one elbow on top of the other. And then bring the hands toward each other. If you can bring the palms together, do that. If you're grabbing the thumb, whatever you can. And then from here, lift the elbows so they're parallel to the floor and start to pull the hands away from the face. And there's a really subtle movement here now. Draw your shoulders back behind you. So you're going from the front to the back, drawing your elbows in closer to the body by virtue of the shoulders. Keep your shoulders down away from the ears, just sliding them back behind. And then go ahead and release the arms. Good. I'm going to release that side. I'm going to come to the other side. So right leg is long. Left foot crosses over. Stack your knees if you can, keeping that foot back by the hip if it'll be there, or a little more forward so you can get the hips down. Starting with the forward bend, lengthen the spine, hinge at the hips. So your hands are either back by your hips, or if you can reach that foot, go for it. On an inhale, we'll come on up from there, keeping the legs where they are. Taking the arms out. Now the left arm underneath of the right, stacking your elbows, bringing the hands together. Lift the elbows so they're parallel to the floor, hands away from the face. And then keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, I'm going to draw them straight back behind. So this is going to bring the elbows in close to the body. And then go ahead and release, unwind the legs. You're going to slip off of your blanket. I'm going to take the the feet mat width apart and the hands back behind. So kind of like you're hanging out on the lawn outside. Maybe I'll just do that. I don't know. Knees bent, feet on the floor. We're going to drop both knees to the left. So when you do that, your right knee will kind of snuggle in with your left foot. From here, you're going to continue in the same direction. Walk your hands around, turning the chest toward the floor. And you might even bend your elbows to take your nose down toward the floor. On an inhale, we'll unwind the twist, bringing the knees back up. Coming back to that starting place, center starting place. I'm going to go ahead and drop the knees to the other side, left knee, right foot. Keep going around that side, walking the hands back behind, turning the chest toward the floor, and possibly taking the nose down to the floor as well. On an inhale, we'll unwind, coming back to center. I'm going to come back to sitting once more, so pull that blanket up if you want it. I'm going to sit this time, cross-legged position, with the right leg in front of the left leg. So they're not folded on each other, just the right leg is in front, left leg behind, both sit bones down. The right leg in front. I'm going to take the left hand to the right knee. Left hand, right knee crossing over. Now this shoulder, this left shoulder, will head down toward that left knee. So I'm going to start to drop here. Now your right hand, as long as your hips are down, try to maintain your hips coming down. You can start on your hip, draw the shoulder back, still dropping down, and then lift the hand up. And you can start to take the hand over your head. But if you get to a point where you feel that your base is wobbly, then come back. We want to be right at the edge where we feel the stretch along this side of the body. If this is too much for shoulder or back, of course, take your hand down. And inhale, we'll come on back up from that side and untwist. I'm going to switch now. Take your left leg in front, right leg behind. And with this leg in front, the opposite hand goes to that knee. So right hand to your left knee. This shoulder is going to drop down to your right knee. Left hand on the left hip to start, draw the shoulder back. And again, check in with the base. Make sure we're not wobbly. And then you can take the hand up and maybe start to come over the head. But again, finding that spot where you don't lose the connection with the floor. And inhale, come on back up. You can change the legs if this is not comfortable. Find another seated position that works. I'm going to end with a little bit of a meditation, bringing the hands to the thighs. Chest is open, gaze is soft, nose slightly down toward the floor. Take a nice deep inhale. And then exhale slowly, smoothly, and squeezing at the end, completing the exhale. Allow the inhale to come naturally. Feeling the smoothness of the breath, natural inhale, natural exhale. See if you can sense your heartbeat, the pulse in the body. We'll bring the hands together at the heart. Give yourself credit for practicing this morning, knowing that now you're ready for your day. I encourage you to talk to the others in class, say hi, say hello if you have the time. Thank you for sharing your practice with me and with the others here. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.